Bruce, I really appreciate this time. I can't wait to meet with you, and I ask you talk about little bit about epigenetics for Hungarian people. This is a really important topic, and most of the Hungarian people never heard about it before. So what does it mean, the epigenetics?
Well, most of us have been programmed with the belief that genes control our life. So if you have like cancer in your family or diabetes or cardiovascular disease, they say the genes are passed from the parents to the child, and that because you have these genes, you can get the disease. So that's a science we call genetic control, which means control by genes. If you think about it, that makes us victims of our heredity, meaning I didn't pick the genes I came with. I can't change the genes, and then I'm told the genes turn on and off, and so my life is controlled by genes. The new science is called epigenetics, and genetic control, controlled by genes. Epigenetic control is different because epi means above. So when I say epigenetic control, I'm saying control above the genes. Now we know that our consciousness and how we respond to life is controlling our genes. And this becomes very important because when we have the old belief we are victims, but with epigenetics it says you can change the character of your genetics by how you respond to life. You change your perception, you change your genes. So we are not victims, we are masters of our genetics. And there's another issue is that most people think that genes are the cause of disease. Less than 10%, maybe 1% of disease is connected to genes. 90% of disease is nothing to do with the genes, but to do with lifestyle and stress.
You are amazing, and this topic is wow. And the question is, how can we use these amazing tools in the everyday life?
Well, in everyday life, we have to recognize your thoughts are being translated into your gene activity. So if you're under stress, you will create problems with your genes. When you're happy and healthy and enjoy life, you activate very good qualities. But when you're under stress, we have negative character. Like, as I said, most disease, like 90% of cancer, it has nothing to do with genes, but how people are experiencing their life. And if you change how you experience life, you change your belief or your perception, you change your genes. So that means that if we exercise our mind, we are very powerful in controlling our biology.
You usually speak about the difference between conscious and subconscious mind, and of course we know the subconscious is the boss. So what can we do for the override if the subconscious mind doesn't help us?
Okay, the first thing is we have to recognize the first 7 years of a child's life, the conscious brain is not working. Only subconscious. And that is when we download, but like a video camera. You watch your parents, you watch your family, and you watch what they do, and it's like recording a program. So if they have good behaviors, you record good behaviors, but if your parents have bad behaviors, then you record the bad behaviors too. So now the question is this, because the programming starts very early, just before you're born, you're already being programmed in the womb.
Before the born.
Before you're born. So if they play music when they're pregnant, when the baby is born, the baby will know the music because
remember this music.
It remembers the music. If the father talks to the abdomen, the wall, and talks to the fetus.
Really, because I have 3 children, so I remember when I touched, and they remembered.
Absolutely. So that means they were learning even before they were born. Okay. But the idea is this, if we got programmed, we did, I say, tell me the program you got at 1. Okay, tell me the program you got at 0. I don't know the program, I wasn't there. I say, 95% of our life is coming from the subconscious program. So your life is like a printout of your program. So you look at your life, And the things that you like that come into your life, they come in because you have a program for them. But the things that you want in your life, good job, relationship, health, if you have trouble getting those, it's because the program you have does not support that conclusion. So basically, you want to know, what is my program? I say, well, look at your life. And as I said, the things that you like that come in, you got a program for them. But anything you work hard at, struggle over, sweat over, I'm going to make a lot of effort to make it happen. Why are you working so hard? Because you have a program that does not support that destination. So you are trying to override the program. And that's very difficult to do.
How could it possible?
Is it possible to override it?
How could it possible to overwrite it? Yes.
Well, not easily.
What is the method? What is the strategy?
Well, you would identify what you want and have to rewrite a program, just like a computer. Okay? And you have to recognize this. So the two minds. The conscious mind is creative. The conscious mind, that's what makes humans different than animals. We can think of ideas and we can create. But subconscious mind is the habit mind. And it's very important. Let's say, for example, when did you learn how to walk? Before you were 2. Did you have to learn again? No. Because you have a habit, okay? So when you have a habit, the mind does not want to change because then it's not a habit anymore. So to rewrite the programs, you have to do it in a special way, otherwise the subconscious mind will not change. So there are 3 basic ways to change subconscious. And they connect to the way we learned. So I say, well, how did you learn the first 7 years? And I say, the brain was in a state in EEG, electroencephalograph, they put the wires. The brain is operating at a vibration called theta. Theta is characterized as imagination. So children, they have a tea party. They pour nothing in the cup and they drink nothing and they go, oh, the tea was great. Or they ride a broom, it's a horse. It's not a broom, now it's a horse in the mind, okay?
Imagination.
Yeah, so imagination is theta, but theta is hypnosis. So that a child in the first 7 years is recording everything it sees and hears like a video recorder. And this is a problem for parents because they may say things that they don't really mean, you know, like, you know, maybe the child is not behaving and they say, you're not lovable, you don't deserve this. They don't recognize a child is not thinking, it's just recording. I say, so what did if a parent says, you don't deserve this, I say, what did the child write in the brain? I do not deserve. And then I say, okay, now 95% of your life is going to come from the program. Very important, this is very important. The function of the mind is to create what we say coherence between the belief and the reality. If I have a belief I'm not good enough, then my behavior will show I'm not good enough. I will make mistakes, I will mess up everything, and then they say, that's not good enough.
Not enough good, and not enough lovable enough.
Yeah, and parents don't realize, they might be upset at the moment. Let's say the child is crying, I want a toy. And the father says, you don't deserve that. The child is not understanding what the parent means, the child's just recording. So a child, I do not deserve. And so when they're older, and 95% coming from program, then what is the behavior? I do not deserve. And so the mind will make mistakes. You'll try to do something really, really good. The mind will mess it all up. And then at the end, guess what? I do not deserve. I said, that was the program. So hypnosis is first 7 years. But after age 7, we still learn things, like you learn how to drive a car or ride a bicycle or play a music instrument. I say, well, how did you learn that? I say, practice, repeat it over again. You want to play an instrument? You can't just say, oh, I'm playing an instrument. I have to practice, practice, practice. That's what makes a habit, when you repeat over and over and over again. So after age 7, you want to learn something new or change something? You have to practice, just like practicing an instrument or practicing driving, okay? That's the second way, practice. And then the third way is something new. It's called energy psychology. So what's energy psychology? It's a way of changing the belief very fast. And some of these ways of changing a belief, you could have a belief your whole life, 50 years, but use one of these processes, you can change a belief in 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
Wow, it's amazing.
It's amazing. And it's necessary because the world is coming in a very bad situation because of our behavior. And so we need to change our behavior very quickly. And so the new form, energy psychology, is the newest form of changing the belief. It's also referred to as super learning. Super learning. Maybe you know super learning, they can read a book by move the finger down the page. As fast as they do that, they read all the words on the page, just like this. Well, if you can use that super learning to put in a program, that means you can learn very fast. So 10 minutes, you could change a belief you had your whole life. And it's very important because we need to change now.
It is amazing.
Yes.
As you mentioned, the stress not from our life, about from our perception about the life. And
yes.
What do you think it could help if somebody after woke up and say, I believe that wonderful thing will happen to me today, it could help? Or as you said, we have to fall in love with life. It could be help for the change, for the something change for our life?
Yeah, I mean, if you wake up with, oh, today's not going to be a good day, well, then you already told yourself what you're going to do during the day. Because we take our power away. We think everything is from outside. The control is from out here, the control is out there, or the control is from the genes. But it all comes from here. Let me give you a very important statement, okay? Quantum physics is the most truthful, valid science of all the sciences on the planet. The most truthful. And quantum physics principle number one, consciousness is creating your life experience. We are creating with our mind. Well, if we didn't know that, then and our mind has negative things, we create negative things. But now that we know this, we have to change our mind and start having more positive thinking, because then we get positive results. And we have to say we are powerful, but the programming that we get says you are a victim and you're not very powerful, and they take away the power. And today, especially now, we have to get our power back because the world is in a very serious problem today.
Yes, absolutely agree. The last question is, I think this is the future, epigenetics. And that's
it is the future.
Yes, and that's why I think we have to teach our children, boys and girls and teenagers, and what is the effectively easier way to teach the children this epigenetics and the basic about the amazing things?
Well, you could teach them about the biology and the genes and all that, or you could just say, look, what are you thinking? And recognize that your thoughts are going to create your life. And psychologists tell us that I think 70% of the thoughts are negative, disempowering, self-sabotaging. And so the problems are not from the outside, the problems start on the inside. So do you want to teach them the mechanics of genes? You could do that. Or you could just say, listen, what are you thinking? Because we have to start with the thinking part.
Oh, especially if somebody listens to this as a parent.
Yes.
Or as a teacher, what is your recommendation for them? So for example, for the parents, for the family life, what can we do? Especially I have 3 sons, so what can I do for their future?
Okay, number one is keep telling the kids how powerful they are, how smart they are, how lovable. You give them very positive thinking, okay? You're smart, you're intelligent, you're powerful, you're beautiful, you can do all these things. And if they keep hearing that, that's the program. So they become what the program is. But then as a parent, you have to remember this. Only 5% of the day are you using the creative conscious mind. 95% of the day you're using programs. And I say, well, where did the parent get the program? From their parents. and their parents has passed down. People think genes are the thing that goes from one family to the next generation. But I'll give you a very important example. When they looked at what happens to children who are adopted into a family where there's cancer running in the family, the adopted child will get the same family cancer, but the adopted child has completely different genetics. Now we understand cancer is not from, there is no cancer gene. There is not one gene that causes cancer. That's a true story, okay? Wow. Even like Angelina Jolie, the actress, her mother died from the breast cancer, her grandmother died from the breast cancer, and she has the same gene, BRCA1 gene. And she says, I'm going to take my breasts off so I don't get the cancer. And then I say, the gene does not cause the cancer. And she goes, I go, very simple point. 50% of the women that have the gene never get the cancer. Having the gene did not cause the cancer. Having the gene and a life that is not in harmony, a life that is in stress, that will activate the gene. The gene does not cause cancer. There is not one gene that causes cancer, okay? It's lifestyle.
It's amazing.
Well, it is, because it says, if the genes cause the cancer, then you're a victim, you got a gene. But if it's lifestyle, I said, well, then you're the one, you can change lifestyle. So all of a sudden we become powerful because we're the ones that can change that. And there, let's say 2 people get diagnosed with cancer, terminal. The doctor says, go home, 3 months, you're going to die. Take care of yourself. And one of the patients goes, yes, doctor, okay. And they go home and they get ready because the mind says, I'm going to die in 3 months. The other one goes, my life is not so good. I'm going to let go of the job. I'm going to let go of the stress. If I only have 3 months, I'm going to go enjoy myself. Those are the ones that have what you call spontaneous remission. That means the cancer disappears. They go home, 3 months, they're having a good time, 6 months, they're still here, 5 years, they're still here. They didn't change the gene, they changed the stress. And that's what we have to focus on, because American Psychological Association says that up to 90% of doctor visits, when people go to the doctor, up to 90% are due to stress only. So the issue is stress, not viruses, bacteria, it's stress. And this is a problem affecting the whole world. When you are under stress, the brain releases hormones to get you ready for fight or flight. But when it does that, those same hormones shut off the immune system. And they shut off the working of the viscera, the gut. I say, what's the function of this? I say, maintenance of the body, cleaning the body, taking care of the body. And I say, why should they shut off this? Why should they shut off the immune system? And the answer is, if you're going to run away from the saber-toothed tiger, you want all the energy you can. So immune system uses a lot of energy, because when people are sick, sometimes they don't have energy to get out of bed. They're so weak. That's because the immune system uses too much. But if you're being chased by a tiger and you have infection, more important to run away from the tiger. So this is the big problem they don't recognize. When you're under stress, you shut off the immune system to save energy. You shut off the system to take care of the body, because you're going to run away from the tiger. You don't need to spend energy for that. Well, the problem is, when we first evolved, when the first development of humans, how much stress did we have? Saber-toothed tiger. I say, so you run away from the tiger, then what? I say, 10 minutes later, no more stress, okay? So we only use stress for a very short time. Today, stress is every day of the week, the whole year. The system was not designed for long stress. It was only designed for short stress. And the long stress is what is causing the problem.
So we have just, or around 2 minutes. The last
That's
short
too
question,
fast.
could it be?
Come on, we're just getting into it.
You are amazing, Bruce. Thank you. So, could be the last question. I heard your amazing speech about the telomerase
Yes.
enzyme. Its responsibility for the young or old. Could you give some
Yes.
things about?
Yeah. Imagine my arm is chromosome, okay? And when you copy the chromosome, an enzyme goes down the chromosome like a train on the track, and it makes a copy, okay? But when it gets to the end, it can't copy this part because it's sitting on it, because the next move, it comes off. So then I say, when I copy this chromosome, I go all the way up to here, and this part is not copied. So now it's shorter. But the next time I copy, it goes to here. Then it gets shorter again. And every time I divide, the telomere gets shorter, shorter, and shorter. The telomere is just extra. It's not a gene. It's just extra DNA, like railroad track. Okay? And I say, so what's the problem? I say, if you run out of the telomere, the next time you copy, you cut off the gene. That's when you have the health issues, okay? And aging and depression is when the telomere is too short. So at first, when they first discovered telomeres, they said, oh, your life is based on how long the telomere is, how many times you can divide before you cut into the gene. So they said, okay, your life could be 90 years old, and that's it.
That's all.
But then a woman, Elizabeth Blackburn, a research scientist, said, oh, there's an enzyme that can make it longer. So all of a sudden you says, your life is not limited to 90, you could live 150 or more years, okay? But then the enzyme, to make it work, is feedback from the consciousness to the enzyme. If your life is stress or you have violence like abuse at home or you know, some post-traumatic stress or something like that, that stops the enzyme, okay? If you're not happy with your life, you stop the enzyme.
How can we achieve it? Could be longer then?
Be happy.
Yes.
Have gratitude and positive thinking, okay? Be in service. You say, what's in service? I say, I have something to do. I can't finish now. I'm taking care of somebody, like a caregiver. I can't stop. I have to be longer because I have a job. This is why retired people, when they have no more job, they die very fast afterwards. But those that continue working and they have something to do.
So that's why you are full of energy.
Yeah, and you love your life. Your feedback says, I want more. I love my life. But if your life is stressed, you go, I'm tired of this. It's like, oh, okay, you're tired?
This is the message.
It's a feedback. It says if you love your life, you increase the telomere. And if you're under stress or under violence or some issue or you just hate your life, it's not happy, the enzyme stops. And when the enzyme stops, that's the end of, you know, your life stops at that point.
And you mentioned is necessary for the goals in our life. So not just the serve, we have to find the purpose.
Yes, exactly. Because that means you have a reason to be here. I'm not just sitting around. That will shut off the enzyme. I have nothing to do. Okay, then you're done. But if you have a reason, a cause, something you want to work on, if you're an artist or anybody who has got something to do, the feedback says, I'm not finished. I have more. And the enzyme will then give you more life. So it's like the fountain of youth. It can keep you young, but you have to be conscious of this.
So, thank you for this amazing experience, Bruce. Thank you for your time.
I wish we had more time because it's so exciting, the new science.
I see it and I feel it. And I hope we can invite you to Hungary as soon as possible. I really appreciate it again, and I hope we'll see you soon.
I want to thank you so very much because, as you said, knowledge is power. And if you don't have knowledge, then you have no power. And this is knowledge about self. So that means self-power. Self-power is what we need. I would love to be with you on the stage.
I really appreciate it.
That we both could talk to the audience and help them out.
It would be amazing.
The world needs to change very fast now.
Yes, this is my way as you.
Yes.
I follow you and really appreciate it.
I appreciate it so very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Could it possible a picture together?
You know we can do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.